Scientists are calling for a paradigm shift regarding water management and sustainability in South Africa. This emerged during the Water Imbizo that was held in Pretoria yesterday. The gathering was hosted by Unisa in collaboration with the Water Research Commission and the Department of Water and Sanitation. The aim here is to provide a platform for critical conversations and collective thinking on the provision of tangible solutions towards existing challenges in this space. Let's discuss the outcomes of that gathering and their thinking. Bring in our guest, Professor Anja du Plessis is a water management researcher with Unisa, while Professor Thabo Nkambule is the head of the university's Institute for Nanotechnology and Water Sustainability. To both our profs, it's lovely to see you. Thanks very much indeed for your time and patience. Welcome to the SABC. Professor Anja du Plessis, perhaps I can begin with you. This call for a paradigm shift, practically speaking, what does that look like?
Well, it looks like actual practical solutions that we can implement immediately, whether it be with national government in partnerships with other universities, but also in partnerships with municipalities and the community themselves. So the paradigm shift that is requested at this point in time is that we actually all start to work together. There are many solutions on the table, but not all of them will bring immediate results. So I think that's a paradigm shift that we're looking at and trying to work together and not just all trying to get in front.
Yeah, and I suppose that also entails listening to the researchers and the academics who spend time exploring the different solutions. And perhaps, Professor Nkambule, it's a good time to bring you in. Help us understand what the Institute for Nanotechnology and Water Sustainability does and what perhaps some of those solutions from that institute might look like.
Thank you so much, and good morning to you and the viewers. The Institute for Nanotechnology and Water Sustainability at the University of South Africa is an institute that innovatively addresses current and emerging issues relating to water quality and water scarcity. And central to our operations is ensuring that we position ourselves as a think tank, as a provider of solutions, and as a practical engager and binder between the stakeholders that work on this multifaceted approach to sustainable water resources. So we focus on research that puts water sustainability at the forefront through different enablers, nanotechnology being one of them, research on membrane sciences and technology being another, nanostructured materials as well, and most importantly, working on different approaches at environmental analysis, coming up with new methods for effective analysis of emerging chemicals of concern. Lastly, we also have a very live project on acid mine drainage remediation. As you know, that South Africa is a mining country, and one of the polluters of the water table is mining activities. And if you can then be able to come up with solutions that treat mine-impacted water to clean enough levels for usage and drinking, and then also for developing products from those pigments, from the pigments forming out of this mining, and we move towards water sustainability, and that's one of the solutions that we offer as an institute.
Right. As recently as this morning, we heard from the mayor of Johannesburg speaking about how that metro in particular actually doesn't have a water shortage issue, but all the challenges when it comes to supply are actually related to infrastructure. He's announced that they're rolling out something called loggers, the name leak loggers, which is a term I haven't heard before, but maybe you can tell us a bit more about it, Prof. But the question I'm really getting at is whether or not that really is where the challenge is, our ability to ensure that the water we can purify actually lands up in people's taps and not leaking somewhere along the way. Professor Anja?
Well, that's definitely an ongoing issue that we've raised for many, many years, especially myself and fellow colleagues within government and municipalities. Yes, we are starting to see slow change. I think the primary issue for Joburg Water has been, the lack of resources. They are undercapacitated as well, so we need to consider their challenges as well. And having leak loggers, that will definitely assist and hopefully increase or decrease rather the response time. So I think that's just one, or I hope that that's just one of the things that they are considering. If you speak to the public and you say, okay, we're going to put leak loggers, they're going to ask you, but how does that help me getting water out of my tap? So we need to look at it at various facets from all sides, and also address the concerns from the public, and just to also emphasize that yes, we are having major leaks. Yes, it is slowly but surely getting better. In some instances within the commando system, people are still struggling. But that is only going to start changing once the additional Brixton reservoir is built, once Joburg Water gets into the things of trying to fix the leaking reservoirs, etc. So we need to remember that there's many approaches and many things that are at this point in time happening within Joburg Water. It's not like they're doing nothing. However, I do understand the ongoing frustration from residents. It is not nice to go and stand with a bucket outside and try to find a water tanker or a roaming one. So that's definitely something that we also need to address. And that's what we do at Unisa as well, within the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. We look at different management approaches, and my colleague, Prof. Richard Meisner, he also looks at the politics thereof. And we need to look at all of the above, because all of them play a major role.
Yeah, this is all happening in a context where we're told that the world over needs to start thinking about water reuse more than we currently do. Professor Nkambule, in your mind, what does that look like? Especially because, again, for South Africans, I imagine, we always anticipate that the water that comes out of our tap has gone through this perfect process of going from the sky into a dam, through a purification process, and ultimately into our homes.
Definitely, we actually already do water reuse. It's just that we do it in an indirect way. In the urban water cycle, you get water typically from a source, put it through a water treatment plant, give it to users to use, take it into a wastewater treatment plant and discard it into a river at the right, of course, levels, so that you don't pollute the ecosystem. And then we abstract it again. That is indirect potable water reuse. The question now is, shouldn't we go to direct water reuse, especially in the arid parts of the country? And also aligned to that, also beneficiating the oceans that surround South Africa, especially in the coastal areas. You remember a few years ago, we had Day Zero approaching at Cape Town, and then that speaks to issues of desalination. So the University of South Africa has instituted catalytic niche areas, and one of them is marine studies. And under marine studies, the institute in particular works on looking at desalination. Of course, the problem with desalination is the costs involved with driving the pressure-driven system of desalination. And at the institute, we are also now doing research where we have come up with a system where we can do membrane desalination, distillation in particular, using in-house developed membranes and then reducing the energy cost of driving system. So water reuse is definitely important in many aspects. The acid mine drainage that I was speaking about, of course, is also another way ensuring that we reuse the water. And also, as we said, relying more just on the normal rivers, and also harnessing other types of water sources like stormwater harvesting. Well, now we are at a space where we get a very prolonged shortage of water from droughts. And then after that, we move to extensive flooding simultaneously. So coming up with means of harnessing stormwater harvesting as well is one of the initiatives that we are looking at and putting forward to the country for exploration.
Sure. None of these, I imagine, are implementable tomorrow, but I'm sure, Professor Anja, there are low-hanging fruits as we round up our conversation that can be implemented sooner than later. Briefly, what do those look like?
Well, in Johannesburg, luckily we had a lot of rain, so definitely rainwater harvesting is a very good implementation plan that residents can implement straight away, as well as industries and commercial properties. Another one would be grey water reuse. I don't know if you can remember in what situation we were in 2017, 2018 here in Johannesburg, but I can remember that we were on various water level restrictions where we couldn't fill your pool and higher tariffs and so on. So we need to think smarter. We need to use water more efficiently. And I know that residents are tired of hearing this, but we need to use water more wisely and try to use it more sparingly. Yes, this is not obviously something implementable if you don't have any water that's coming out of your dry taps. But what I'm trying to say is that there are many things that we can implement at various costs, I know we obviously also have a quality of life issue where not everyone has got those financial resources, but there are many various interventions that we can have, but at the bottom line is we have to increase water resilience, especially our industry where they use a lot of money when the pipes run dry.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody wins when we can't harness this particular resource. So hopefully some of those solutions are listened to rather sooner than later. Professor Anja du Plessis and Professor Thabo Nkambule, both of you, thank you very much indeed for your time and insights. Really do appreciate it. Both profs from the University of South Africa.